Hello YouTubers. So today we're going to go over field stripping / disassembly / taking apart your Glock. Sometimes people try to make it a lot more difficult than it really is. Actually, Glocks are very easy to take apart just for cleaning purposes. Luckily, the best part about Glocks is that they all come apart the same way. No matter what caliber it is or what generation it is, from the very first one that came off the factory line to the latest one you can buy at the store today, they all come apart the same way. So that's really nice. Keep that all the same. The only thing that's different is you can tell on some of them have a different size or a different type of release for the magazine, but other than that, they're all exactly the same. So I'll show you how to take it apart on a full size. This is a Glock 22 40 Smith & Wesson, as you can see. This is its smaller cousin, also 40 Smith & Wesson, but they both come apart the same, although there are a couple of little differences to watch out for. The Gen 4s, which are what these are, the Gen 3s, Gen 2s, Gen 1s, slight differences, but for the most part, they all come apart the same. So you don't have to have a mat. This is my favorite take apart, get dirty Glock mat. It used to be a place mat, but it's wonderful for getting stuff dirty, not having to worry about it. You don't have to have one, but it is nice that you don't scratch up your table or work surface or whatever you're working on. So first things first, I know people go over it a lot, but you got to make sure the gun is clear, especially when you're disassembling a Glock, and you'll see why in just a second. So you hit that magazine release, take out the magazine. You can see that's a loaded magazine. So we'll put that way out to the far side, and we'll clear the gun. As you know, you just have to pull back on the slide, take a quick look. Oh, nice and clear. You can do it as many times as you want to make sure that there's nothing in there. And then this slide will not come off unless the trigger has been depressed. So that's why you really want to make sure that there's nothing in this gun, because it will go off when you pull that trigger, whether that magazine is out or not. Unlike Smith & Wessons, these do not have a magazine safety. So if there's a round in the chamber and you pull the trigger, it will shoot. So make sure that's clear. Pull the trigger, and then comes the fun part. So this has a little takedown slide on either side of the firearm. These little pins, you can see they're supposed to slide down like that. You're supposed to pull these two down simultaneously on both sides with your fingers, in that kind of a motion, and then the slide should come off. Trouble is, these have a fair amount of pressure on them from the slide pushing against it with the recoil spring. So to take that off, there's different ways you can do it. Some people push from the front, some people pull from the back and then pull like this. The best way I found it is to just grip it like you're about to shoot it, but instead of putting your finger in the trigger guard, you come up on the top of the slide, grasp it like this, and you can take off just a little bit of pressure. So you take off that pressure, and now you can see these things move up and down freely. With the pressure on it, they're impossible to move. But if you take off just a little bit of pressure, you're only moving it maybe 1/8 of an inch. Move the slide 1/8 of an inch, pull those two down simultaneously, and the slide will just come off. It's just that simple. Then you just separate the two pieces, and you'll be surprised at how light this is. This is all polymer with a couple of metal inserts in there. You don't have to worry about this too much when you're cleaning, at least in disassembly terms. If you have a lot of gunk that builds up down here from firing and dust that gets in there, this is your carry weapon especially, you get a lot of dust in there. You want to make sure that everything, looks pretty mumuch clean. And you can get a couple things with Q-tips, and if you're really hardcore, you can get in there with some solvent if you're careful. But, you don't have to worry about that too much. I usually blow it out with some compressed air and add a couple of dabs of oil. But we'll get to cleaning in another video. Just make sure that it's all in working order. So you set that to the side. The slide is really easy to take apart also. This is called a captured spring, meaning, and I'll pop it out for you. It has a little notch there that it fits into. That it's captured. When I take the spring out, it doesn't pop out of the slide. There are guns and Glocks, especially in the early generations, that don't have a captured spring. Meaning when you pop it out of there, you got to be careful. You got to hold on to it or it'll spring way off. But this capture spring is nice because you can just have that whole thing as an assembly. It's really easy to clean, a couple drops of oil and you're good. We'll get to that later. But you just set that to the side, and then the barrel is actually, you can see it's just loose in there, and it has a little spot where it likes to sit, so you can't even push it forward if you wanted to until you push up on it and let it slide forward. Then you can pick up this piece and slide it out, and there's your barrel. You look down there for any obstructions, make sure rifling's good, and that's about it. You can actually, if you're quick, I've gotten it down to where I can disassemble it to this point and reassemble it in 9 seconds if you really want to get crazy. That's just for fun. But obviously putting it back together after you're done cleaning it or checking it or whatever you're doing for disassembling the firearm, you just take that barrel and make sure that these 2 notches are up. That's going to be the top of the gun right there. And all you do is you slide it there into where the barrel sits out. Make sure that it sits down in its notch. It's not hard. I mean, it likes to be in that notch, as you can see. And then you just take your captured spring and make sure that the plastic end is going out the front. If you try and put it in backwards, the spring will not have a good time. I think it is possible to actually put that on there, but I've never tried actually putting it on the gun afterwards. Make sure the metal end is going towards the back. Plastic end towards the front. Just insert that into its little spot there. Take your thumb and push it into the little notch it's got. And that's it. It's ready to go back on the slide. Now you notice that this has a couple of indentations down either side. And these have little grooves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those slides fit on those grooves. So all you do is stick it back on there. You see I'm catching those grooves with the slide. Keep going, and then it's ready. That's the wonderful thing about Glocks. That thing is ready to fire. You can actually throw a magazine in there and pull the slide back again, and it's ready to go. Super simple, no tools. You can do it really, really fast. Just make sure that thing's clear. Get the pressure off, pull it out, spring, barrel, put it all back together, and this thing will run like a dream. Real simple. So if you're curious, I'm going to put this to the side now that we're done with that. This is a Glock 27, like I said, the smaller cousin of the other Glock we just did. It's very simple as well. Take the magazine out, and there's nothing in there. Make sure you got to pull the trigger on this one too. And same idea, you just grasp it like that, pull a little pressure off of the slide, 2 takedowns, and that sucker just comes right off. You can see it looks identical, only shorter to the other one we were just doing. The spring is slightly different, but another captured spring just like the first. Barrel comes out the same way. It's exactly the same, only smaller. In fact, this takedown system works so well that Smith & Wesson has done this exact same system in a couple of its economy line guns. That all goes back together just like it should. Put that back in its little notches. Ready to go. So that's the short and sweet way of disassembling your Glocks. Doesn't matter what caliber it is. Doesn't matter what generation it is. They're very simple to take down. They're very simple to clean. They're simple to operate, which is why they are so popular. I'm going to do a video later on with some Smith & Wessons. And we'll try and get a Springfield XD in there to show you how that takes down. They all take down very similar, but they do have some very important differences. So we'll go over that. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Thanks.